The amount of motivation I feel today is literally insane. Let me explain that to you. I went to this event yesterday. It was a real estate event and it was for promoting your business on social media, how to use the internet to scale your business, how to use ads, and it was literally just so amazing. It really pertained so much to real estate and to my podcast, to my blog, to my brand collaborations, like literally everything that I do. So I was just feeling really empowered when I left there yesterday. That being said, this episode was supposed to release yesterday and I was really sick and I didn't finish it in time because I was just dying. So I woke up this morning, I was going to get it out to you guys, and then I just deleted it because I was like, you know what? This is trash. I have a completely open mind today. I'm feeling very just like motivated and determined, and I just want to have like really fresh content. So I'm literally going to record this and upload it to you immediately. I'm so excited for everything that's like happening in my life. So if you don't know me on a personal level, I used to work in healthcare. Now I'm transitioning into real estate. I recently started a blog. I'm doing a lot of brand collaborations with social media, and I started this podcast, and I'm in the process of creating a course for micro influencers full of tools and resources of things that I wish I had when I started. It took so much research and learning for me to get to where I was. I literally didn't even start working on any of that until maybe early July. And here it is, September 2nd, and I have scored thousands of dollars of free products and cash. So I'm just like ready to exert all of this knowledge that I have and just like build all of these different streams of income. And I'm just like on this like money mission right now. I'm just like ready to have this amazing lifestyle to just help people. Like, I think I just thrive so much on being able to share what I know in hopes that it's going to affect somebody somewhere. I am just like on a cloud today. I'm ready to just do shit. I'm just like really pumped. I'm very excited. I really can't wait to see where all of this goes. That being said, I have switched the podcast to every other Thursday instead of weekly now. I have a lot of things on my plate. I am trying to accomplish a lot of different things. I also preach so often on self-care and the importance of making me time and meet with my family and things like that. So yeah, I'll be releasing an episode every other week now. Hopefully that creates better content for you guys and puts me in a better mindset and time to work on all of the things that I'm working on. So this week we are talking about red flags in a relationship. Now, red flags are associated with toxicity, and toxicity can be in an intimate relationship, or it can be in a friendship, a relationship with family, colleagues. It's honestly just any relationship that is not beneficial for you. So I want to talk about the different kinds of red flags. People have sent that in to me a few times. It's one of the most requested topics. When I do an episode, I like to do my research to find outside information to incorporate, because while I have experienced a lot of things, obviously I haven't been through everything, and my experience is not the only one. So I did a lot of research on red flags, and what I'm finding is that people are like, what are the red flags? Like, how can we decipher them? How do we know? And it's so fucking obvious. It really is. So I think the purpose of this episode is really not to discuss what are the red flags, because we know what they are. I bet if I asked you right now to name 5, you could. But I think the purpose of this episode is to talk about why we choose to ignore them. So I think that that is the topic at hand here. So during my research of red flags, I came across a few lists. I'm just going to name some of the most common red flags. As soon as I name them, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I know that. That makes sense. Clearly. Number 1, over-controlling behavior, lack of trust, feeling low self-esteem, physical, emotional, or mental abuse, substance abuse, narcissism, anger management, codependency, inability to resolve conflict, constant jealousy, gaslighting, lack of emotional intelligence, negatively affecting relationship with family and friends. This is a list of 13 common red flags on betterup.com. HeySigmund.com has a list of 15 signs of a toxic relationship, aka red flags. It feels bad all the time. You're constantly braced for the gotcha. You avoid saying what you need because there's just no point. There's no effort. All the work, love, and compromise comes from you. No is a bad word. The scorecard. Let me show you how wrong you are. There's a battle and you're on your own again. Physical or verbal abuse, or both. Too much passive aggressiveness. Nothing gets resolved. Whatever you're going through, it's worse for me. Privacy? What privacy? The lies, the endless lies. Big decisions are for important people, and clearly you're not one of them. Essentially, worded differently, all the same. All of these are they're just clearly obvious. Like, I read them to you and you're just like, yeah, if you're in a relationship and any of those things are happening, you're like, this isn't good. Right? It's a red flag. It's bad. And the last one, Women's Health Magazine. This is 24 signs of a toxic relationship. Your significant other always finds something wrong with you. They strip away your self-esteem. There's a clear imbalance of power. They're controlling and excessively jealous. You're not practicing self-care. You keep waiting and hoping for them to change. You feel very insecure. Your significant other never takes responsibility. Your partner is constantly stonewalling you. Your family and your friends are concerned. You don't have the type of trust that you should have. You feel worse when you're with them, often. You feel drained. Your partner is always offering quote-unquote constructive criticism, even when you don't ask for it. You don't feel like yourself around them. They don't bring out the best in you. You don't have a positive feeling about the future. They like to play games. Your partner never remembers your schedule. They're always blaming other people for their problems. Your significant other is super competitive with you. You feel like you do all the work in your relationship. You're always making excuses for their bad behavior. The relationship is borderline abusive. That's from Women's Health Magazine. I think I want to stay talking about this specific list. It has mostly everything combined and it is the most straightforward. Are there any of those that you heard that if they were happening in your relationship, you wouldn't think, yeah, that's a bad sign. That's a red flag. It's so obvious, right? It's ridiculously obvious. And so I just want to talk about why we just ignore them, because the majority of this list felt like my last relationship. And so I just kind of want to touch on all of these signs, and discuss mentally what is going on. So your significant other always finds something wrong with you. I feel like this can be directly related to many of the signs. However, I know a big thing for me was always just you're not doing enough. I was working constantly, most of the time working 2 jobs, and I was just exhausted. I'm taking care of 3 kids and 2 of them are 3 and under. So, that's a lot. It's a lot for anyone. And so on a weekend, if I wake up and I just want to lay on the couch and watch TV, it's just why aren't you doing something? That has directly affected my relationship now because I don't feel like I'm allowed to just chill, which I am, and I feel so bad for Gary because he's always pushing me to just relax or do things that I want to do and to try and help the situation. But it's just scarred into my brain. What if he's just saying this, but he doesn't really mean it? And I know that's not the case, but it's so hard mentally. This stuff follows you. And it's been almost 2 years since I was in that relationship. And it's still affecting me now. With my ex, it would be okay, I'm just gonna chill. And then he would start cleaning the house or something. And it's just why aren't you helping? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And so I would just feel like I had to do it. If he decided this is when we're doing it, then that's just when we were going to do it. So now Gary can just be going to the kitchen and decide he wants to do the dishes. And I'll immediately stand up and be no, go sit down. You don't need to do that. Like, that's my job. He's like, it's not your job. I'm like, yes, it is. It's my job. Like, you should not be doing this. And so I feel this immediate need, like, I either need to help or I need to take over. And it fucking sucks. It really does. But that's just the way that has affected me. The second thing on this list was they strip away your self-esteem. So that was like a slow developing one. And I feel like a part of that had to do with the jealousy and control thing. When I met my ex, I was in cosmetology school. So I was really dolled up all the time. And you know that after a few months of being together, I got pregnant with my daughter. And so I was still in school, but I was having morning sickness all the time. So I didn't feel like motivated to get ready. However, there were some days where I woke up and I just felt really good and I wanted to, do my hair and makeup. All of a sudden it was just like, why are you wearing that? Who are you meeting today? And it was just like, there had to be a reason why I was dolled up. Like, I just want to because it makes me feel better. And then I would constantly get accused of cheating or whatever because I just wanted to put makeup on. Like, I went to beauty school because I enjoy doing that. I love makeup. I really do. I love it so much. I don't wear it as much now. Living in Hawaii, it's just like hot all the time and it's just easier not to. I've really been trying to embrace my like natural beauty, but at no point in time is Gary ever like, why are you wearing that? I went to the real estate event yesterday and I did my hair and I did my makeup and fake lashes and just like the whole thing. And weirdly enough, like I started to feel uncomfortable. Like, why am I looking this nice? And I have to like remind myself that, I'm in a healthy relationship and it's fine. He's like, no, you look amazing. Like, I hope you have so much fun. Make sure you take your time, like enjoy yourself. I'm not used to that at all. So that was always like a big thing, is that like getting my self-esteem stripped away. It was just awful because when I got out of the relationship, like I didn't even know how to like feel about myself. Like I got my hair done, I started wearing makeup and stuff, and then I just like felt really weird about it. Like, why are you getting all dressed up like that? Like, are you looking for attention? No, like you're just doing it because you want to feel good. So I think that's just like a huge problem when the person you're with won't let you express yourself or be who you are. You should be able to get your hair and your nails done and wear a full face of makeup and just look completely dressed up just because you want to go to the store. Like, I leave the house and I'm like, let me put my eyebrows on and whatever, because it makes me feel good. And if you're with someone that doesn't allow you to do that, that's a huge fucking sign. Like, I knew that it was bad, but I just chalked it up to, well, his ex cheated on him and he just has some problems, with trust and whatever. I made excuses all the time. And so I knew it was wrong, but I thought that if I just did what he said, that it would help him feel better. The third thing on this list is a clear imbalance of power. Generally, a relationship needs to be, people say 50-50 between two people. I say 100-100, okay? Because everyone needs to put in the same amount of effort. And of course, there are times when you pick up the slack for the other person because we all go through shit, Sometimes it's not 50-50 or 100-100. Sometimes it's like 80-20. And that's fine, as long as it's not a forever thing. When you're with someone, you guys need to have each other's backs. But when it's always 90-10 all the time and someone is controlling the relationship, someone decides everything about it, that's not okay. It's just not. So Gary and I talk about everything. We make decisions together as a team. In my past relationship, we did not do that. And it was just very like, whatever you want, I'll do it. It's fine. It's not fine. Everyone needs to come together and make important decisions together. That seems really obvious, doesn't it? It really does. But somehow we just keep ending up in these positions. This one resonates with me the most. Controlling and excessively jealous. My last relationship was so bad because of the jealousy and the controlling. That is what spiraled everything. I made excuses for him all the time because he had been in a relationship where someone cheated on him. Well, the crazy thing is that so have I. I got married when I was 18 and my husband cheated on me multiple times in our first year of marriage. He told me later and I respected him for that. I just couldn't be with someone who could betray me in that way. And I guess everyone has different ways of dealing with it. I mean, my mindset was, you're not him. You didn't do that to me. I'm not going to put all of my ex's mistakes on you and make you feel bad for it. But everyone deals with it differently. So I just chalked it up to, he's really jealous and controlling because he's scared that it's going to happen to him again. And I understand having the wall up and everything like that. But I mean, there's a point where it's just insane. And like, I'm still a person. I deserve to have my own free will and feel the way that I want to feel and do the things that I want to do. And I didn't realize how bad it got until really like the last year that we were together. And by that point, you know, we're 2 kids in and I'm just here. I really didn't ever think that I was going to leave. Like I really didn't. And it was rough. It was really, really rough. The next thing on the list really resonates with me as well. Not practicing self-care. I just would go through these periods where I just really didn't care about what I was looking like or what I was feeling like because I couldn't wear makeup. I couldn't like dress up. I couldn't do any things that made me feel like me. And then if there just happened to be a time where I decided I wanted to take an extra long shower and shave my legs and do like a face mask and just like really make myself feel better, it was just like, why are you taking so long in the shower? Why are you shaving? Are you going to go meet someone? It's just weird how you're going to go have lunch with your mom tomorrow, quote unquote, but you spent an hour in the shower. Sometimes I just want to feel good. And you know, at this point in time, I'm just like, I have a newborn, like I have a toddler. That's the only time that I get to feel good about myself. And I just want to feel relaxed. And I couldn't even do that. Honestly, like sometimes I would just go days without even taking a shower. And my hair was just matted in this bun I would just like wear to work. You know, it's really bad when other people are looking at you and they're just like, are you okay? Because I would go to work and they're just like, you know, we're your friends and we want to say this in the most loving way possible, but like, you look like shit. What is going on? And I'm just like, you know, this and this happened last night. And I always feel really bad because as a friend, it must be so hard to watch someone go through that. And I felt so bad just coming to work and complaining about a situation that I kept myself in. Sorry, it's insane to me like how emotional I get still talking about this stuff, but it's just like the boy who cried wolf, you know? I'm going to work and I'm crying and I'm complaining. And I'm just like, this is what's going on in my life. Like, I hate my life and I hate myself and I just want it to get better. They're like, this is what you need to do. I'm like, I can't do that. And so to an extent, it just gets to the point where they're just like, you know, I'm here for you and I'm sorry, but like, you're not doing what you need to do. It just sucks, you know, it sucks really bad. But I just completely eliminated self-care and I just didn't give a shit. I knew that was a big deal because every time he would go to jail because of his substance abuse problems, I would just stay with my mom or spend a lot of time with her. I would usually like do my hair. I would start wearing makeup every day. And then he would get out of jail and he would like look at my Instagram or my Facebook and be like, wow, you know, you were getting all dolled up every day and all of a sudden I'm home and you don't. I'm like, because if I don't do it every day, like it starts a huge fight. Like he always thinks that there's something wrong. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start wearing makeup every day. How do you start that when you haven't been doing it? There's going to be a reason why you're doing it. There's going to be a reason why you're not. You can't fucking win. You really can't. And it's awful. The next thing on this list is that you keep waiting and hoping for them to change. That was literally my fucking mindset for the entire 4 years we were together. I'm like, you know what? This is the time. Every time he would get out of jail, I'm like, we're starting fresh. Like, this is the day. Everything's going to be better. And then it just wasn't. I mean, again, the boy who cried wolf. Like, I kept putting all my eggs in this basket. Like, this is the best time. And I remember the last year we were together, we lived in a really nice house and we lived on this cul-de-sac. We had a big yard and we finally had enough room for everyone. We had a garage. Like, I had a good job. I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, this is where life gets good. And that year in that house was the worst fucking year of all of them. It was absolutely fucking terrible. I just continued to make excuses. Sign number 7 says you feel very insecure. So the article says when you're in a healthy relationship, there's a significant back and forth where you're complimenting each other, bringing out the best in each other and letting each other know, I care about you. I'm here for you. And this is why. If you're in a toxic relationship, that's just not happening. I realize the difference now being with Gary. And I'm going to use this example so much because the contrast between these two relationships is like, can you even be more than 360 degrees? Like, it's just a fucking different universe, right? It's completely different, even at my worst. So I'll say a couple of months ago, basically I weighed 200 pounds. I had gained so much weight from just like birth control, from, the happiness weight, that's what they call it. And I felt disgusting about myself. But weirdly enough, I felt better then than I did like 2 years ago when I was 40 pounds lighter. And every single day I would be looking at myself in the mirror and Gary's just like, you're so beautiful. I love you. You're perfect. And he knows that I'm struggling with this body image thing. And, regardless, he's just like, whatever you want to do, like, I'll help you. But I just want you to know, like, you look fantastic. Even though deep down I was feeling really insecure about myself, he made it so much better. So I felt better weighing 200 pounds and hating my body than I did weighing 160 pounds and just not being satisfied with my life. It makes a huge difference. And so I was feeling really insecure all the time because I wasn't getting complimented. I wasn't getting any kind of like affection that really takes a toll on you. And you don't realize how important that stuff is until you don't have it. I mean, there was like a period where in the 4 years we were together, we probably only slept in a bed together for maybe 2 years, if that. And so my love language is physical touch. And I'm just like, he would never like hug me or never like want to kiss me or anything. And I just felt disgusting. Like, I already felt bad about myself. I was dieting like crazy. I was trying to like look better because I just felt like I didn't look good enough. I have like a 6-month-old baby and I'm just doing everything I can to try and be good enough. And it just didn't matter. I realize now it wasn't because of me. Usually when someone is going through drug addiction, sex drive is the last thing on their mind. And he really just didn't care, And at that point in my life, I was pretty content with just never having sex again, which is so depressing because why should that ever be a thought? It was just like, I just didn't care. I cared about working. I cared about taking care of my kids. And that was it. The difference now in this relationship that I'm in with Gary is just mind-blowingly different. I mean, sometimes I think I just have like a huge head or a big ego. And I'm just like, wow, I'm so pretty, because he just makes me feel like that. Like, I literally just feel I'm just gorgeous and I'm beautiful. And he makes me feel that about myself. Like, it's not just him telling me, he makes me feel better. Number 8, your significant other never takes responsibility. Do you feel like everything is your fault? Because that was literally my mindset. And now I have this constant need to apologize for every little thing. It's so bad that a couple of days ago, Gary said, do you notice that Olivia is always saying sorry? And I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. She picked that up from me. My 4.5-year-old daughter, I'm like, can you go pick up those crayons? Yeah, mommy, I'm so sorry. Honey, don't be sorry. It's okay. It's just like she feels like she needs to apologize. And I made her that way. If that doesn't put this whole thing into perspective, like, I don't know what will, but I've had to explain to her, honey, you don't have to say sorry unless you did something wrong and you're apologizing for it. She could just like walk into the living room and I don't know, maybe just like want to have a snack or grab her water or something. And she'll just be like, I'm so sorry. Why are you sorry, honey? You don't have to be sorry. That really just like took a toll on me to see that she's picked that up from me. I noticed that I still do it clearly because it's just started to get worse for her. And so that's just really something I need to work on. But in the past, I always felt like everything was my fault and it did get twisted around on me. And so the whole relationship, while I knew the red flags existed, it was all twisted to be things that I caused. Then I just started to feel crazy. Okay, like, I know he's doing these things. I know these are red flags, but he's saying this and this about me, and that makes sense. And if you listen to the last episode, then, you heard my friends saying, oh yeah, well, this is going on and blah, blah, blah. But like, he explained to me what I did and now I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix me. But it's not. It wasn't me that needed to be fixed. Number 9, your partner is constantly stonewalling you. When you want to discuss something, an issue, and they just shut down and they don't want to talk about it, That's called stonewalling. You guys need to be able to communicate and listen to each other and see what you can do to invest in each other, right? I mean, it got to a point at the end of the relationship where I would shut down, but it was like I tried to fix things for so long, and I just got to this point where I knew nothing was going to get better. And I would shut down because he would come to me with these ridiculous things about cheating and whatnot, which I have never cheated on anybody in my life. Like, I don't agree with that, okay? It just got to become this like obsessive topic for him. So he would just talk about stuff and I would just sit there and just like space out because I'm just like, I can't even talk to you about any of this. Like, how do you defend yourself for a murder that you didn't commit? You know what I mean? You can prove if you do something when you have proof. How do you prove that you didn't do something? You know what I mean? Like, and it just didn't matter. Nothing was good enough. In this specific relationship, I ended up being the one at the end who was stonewalling him. However, it started out being him when I wanted to talk about issues that were actually present. Number 10, this one is like the biggest for me. So your family and friends are concerned about you. It literally was to the point where like people just stopped telling me their feelings and I would talk to them and they were just like, okay, like they were just tired of hearing about it. And I've gotten in fights with my friends and my family and constantly defended him to them. And they were just like, you're not yourself. This isn't a good relationship for you. Like, you really need to get out and da 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 da. And this about the kids. I'm like, no. Why do you hate him? Oh, well, okay, it's these things that he did, but, you know, it's getting better. He's getting better. Like, you won't even give him a chance. And really, they gave him chance after chance after chance. We were together for 4 years, and my best friends had only met him once or twice. That's fucking crazy. And honestly, in all the time that I was with him, like, I wasn't doing stuff with my family or my friends. And if I did, I was alone. And that seems to be a trend of men that I've dated in the past that just wouldn't be around my family or friends. And so, let's see, I'm 29 now. Let's say since 18. I got married when I was 18, right? In the last 11 years, in the whatever amount of relationships that I've been in, I'm literally always alone. I wasn't single, but I was by myself. That's just mind-blowing to me when I really like look back and think about it. I think it's going to be really interesting, which I think I said this on the last episode, for Gary and I to go home and visit and to be a family, you know, and just like be together because I've never had that. Like, it's just insane to me. It's crazy. But yeah, my family and my friends, they were also worried, and my coworkers, you know, which my coworkers got the most of it. They really did. And I'm really thankful for the amazing friends and coworkers that I did have because like I would have never made it without them. I went through so much shit and going to work was so rough. My coworkers had to see all of that like firsthand, and it was just tough. For a while, I rode to work with my friend Ryan. She lived really close to my mom's house. So, you know, we would always ride to work together. And she was a little bit older than me, but really, really good friend. Love her to pieces. She was always in the mornings like, what happened last night? Why are you crying? On the way home, she'd be like, you know, I have to stop and do this. So, you know, I'd have to text my ex and be like, we have to stop at the store. We have to do this. Oh, of course you do. And he hated her. And I think it's because, you know, she saw what was going on. And she tried to support me in every way possible, and he couldn't stand it. She was always really understanding of like what I was going through. So if there was any way that she could help, you know, then she would. But I know that there were a few times where I literally had to like record our car ride and where we were, or to like FaceTime him. She was just like, fuck this shit. Like, how can I get you out of that? I'm really just thankful for her because she was such a rock for me. 11 says you don't have the type of trust you should have. That's just obvious. I literally had none. I mean, I was taking pictures of the clock at work with my tattoo next to it. So he knew I was working and he knew I was taking the picture and that it wasn't somebody else. That's insane. And, you know, I knew it was crazy, but going back and seeing all of those photos on my phone, it's just fucking crazy. And like I just said, you know, I would have to like FaceTime. He had the Find My iPhone on his phone so he could see where I was at. And he would just text me during the day and be like, your location is showing you a road over. Where are you at? And then apparently there's a company over there where our neighbor works, a neighbor whose name that I still do not know. Okay. but he was so convinced I was having an affair with this guy. Like, I couldn't even tell you now what he looks like because I don't even fucking remember. And it was really obsessive. He thought I was going to work and just leaving. I'm like, how would I still have a job? Like, I work at the hospital, you know, I take care of patients. I can't just leave to go hook up with some dude. Like, I'm at fucking work. And so I was constantly having to send all of these different signs of proof that I was working. And if I left even 15 minutes late, something was up. I had to pray to God that there was no construction or anything on my way home and that I was able to just drive straight home. It's so much anxiety. It's so much anxiety. If I wanted to just go to the store, I couldn't just do that. I remember on, I want to say it was Christmas Eve, and we had a half day of work. I was getting out at noon, and I couldn't find a slot for like a grocery pickup. And, you know, I procrastinated. I wanted to make like a Christmas dinner. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store. And he lost his shit. And I called him at the store and was like, is there anything you need? And he's just like, who the fuck are you with? Nobody. I'm literally trying to buy groceries. Why didn't you do this before? And like, it turned into a huge fight to the point where like Christmas was just fucking trash. I got ruined. I worked really hard and made this huge Christmas dinner, and I threw the turkey outside in the front yard and all of the containers of food because I was just like, you know, fuck this. Like, I am trying so hard to make this good. And it wasn't. There was zero trust at all. I was scared to use my phone. If I was at work, you know, it's just like I couldn't be on Facebook because he would like see that I was online. He's just like, who are you talking to? Well, I would go home, and if I was ever on my phone, it was just like, who are you talking to? And he always thought that I was just like doing something. I couldn't just be on my phone. So literally once I left work, like you just could not contact me. I would like walk by, like keep my phone like on a counter, like away from me, you know, and I would walk by and just touch it to see if anyone is like texting me or something. But that was it. Or like take pictures of the kids. It's like if he would leave, if I didn't have my phone, then he's like, oh, well, who's in the house? Who are you fucking with? So it was just like, if he's home, I'm not on my phone. If he is not home, I have to have my phone. But God forbid I'm like on the internet or something. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. You know, all of this was mostly in the last year when I just knew it was really bad, but I just wanted things to get better. And, you know, sadly, deep down, I knew that they weren't, but I was just like, how do I take my kids from this? Like, what do I do? Like, what is he gonna do? You know, I'm just like, he doesn't have anybody. He's not like working. And obviously that wasn't something that I really needed to think about. I really needed to think about myself, but I couldn't help it. Like, I am just that kind of person, I guess. No trust. If you can't freely just go do something that you want to do and you can't go see your friends or whatever, then it's not working. I mean, his mom, his own mother, had like a jewelry party, and she did it at the bar that I used to work at. Apparently, I didn't tell him it was at the bar. So he was convinced that I was there cheating and that his mom knew, or she didn't know. Apparently, I would just tell her I need to go to the bathroom, and then I would just slip out and go have sex with some guy and then come back to the party. A fucking jewelry party with his mother. Like, this is the kind of bullshit that I'm talking about. And you hear this and you're just like, why the fuck did you stay? I ask myself the same thing all the time, but it's so different when you're in the position. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not, unless you've been through it, like you just can't understand. Okay. Number 12 says you often feel worse when you're with them. If he had shit to do, like in the beginning of our relationship, the first couple years, I would get upset every single time he had to leave. I would get so upset because I felt like he was never home and he just wasn't helping me do anything, and he wasn't helping with the kids, and he didn't want to be home. And when he was just out in the garage. I felt bad and nervous all the time, like walking on eggshells. When he would leave, I felt better. That's sad because that's the person that you're with. Like, you should want to be around them. And I didn't want to. I really thought that I was missing him, and he would come home and I would just immediately feel bad and I would just be nervous. What are we going to fight about? Can I say anything? Is it okay for me to speak? Like, that's the point I was at. Number 13 says that you feel drained. Oh my God, I just literally felt dead every single day. Like I mentioned earlier, there were times where I would go like a week without like showering. My hair had been in the same bun for over a week and it was just getting like matted and gross, and I was just mentally exhausted. I just wanted to come home and just lay down and sleep forever. And I mean, I think that I had been on like 4 different antidepressants and nothing was really doing it. There's no amount of medication that's going to save you from a toxic relationship. 14 says that your partner is always offering constructive criticism, even when you don't ask for it. I felt like I couldn't do anything right, and he was always correcting me. I couldn't even drive. Do it this way. Why are you doing this? Like, I constantly felt like I was under surveillance and being evaluated for every single thing that I did. It was extremely frustrating. It really was. Number 15 says that you don't feel like yourself around them. I honestly just forgot who I was. And so when we split up, I went through like a little phase of like, you know what, I'll try some dating apps, whatever, get some free dinners. And they ask you all these questions like, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Take care of my kids and go to work. Like, that's what I do. Like, I have no idea what I like to do. I, honest to God, was just like, I can't even describe myself. I don't even know who I am. I don't know what I like. I was so shut off from the world and just from doing anything. It's fucking crazy. It's so weird, like, bringing these things up and talking about them again, because it just starts to like make memories come back. And it's just mind blowing to know that 2 years ago, that's where I was. It's really insane to me how far that I've come. But, you know, you don't feel like yourself, and people notice that you aren't yourself. I mean, Lexi and Shelby said on the last episode, like, we haven't seen the real you in such a long time. Like, we don't even know who it is, but whoever you are now is happier and outgoing and just this completely different person who's just like happy, and we love that person. So whoever I used to be, I don't know, but the person that I am now is amazing. I know that like my family was so happy to just see me smiling and doing music again and things that I really love to do, things that I just like let go of. You start to lose sight of who you are. Number 16 says they don't bring out the best in you. So the article says the best you could be is someone who's really confident and is a lot of fun and doesn't have trust issues. But if you become the opposite of that, when you're around your partner, you have low self-esteem, you don't want to do the fun things, you're doubting everything they say, you might want to reassess your relationship. Basically, if you were a happy, confident person before you met them, nothing should change. So I feel like all of my worst flaws came out. I've always kind of had a little bit of like an anger issue, which is crazy because I'm such like a positive person, but usually I'll just like bottle things up and then they just like explode. I just got to this point where like I didn't even have to bottle it up anymore. Like I was just constantly angry and mad. It was not the best version of me. Like I just did not like who I was. Another part of that, the gaslighting and the like reactive psychosis. So in the last year of our relationship, I was just to this point where he would push and I would push back 10 times harder because I was just over it. Like I was over feeling the way I was feeling. I was angry all of the time. I mean, I was just like throwing things and just screaming all of the time and just like acting crazy. I tried to take a door off the hinges. I broke a window. It was an accident, but still tried to like beat in my garage door with a shovel. But he was just pushing me and I literally felt like I lost it and that I was just completely crazy now. The gaslighting, if you don't know what gaslighting means, it is to manipulate someone psychologically into like questioning their own sanity. That is a very common thing in mentally abusive relationships. It got so bad where like I was blaming myself for everything, and I actually thought like maybe I should go check myself into a psych ward because I think that I'm fucking crazy. It was insane. He will try to say that I was gaslighting him because he has all of these quote unquote signs I was cheating on him and all these crazy things he would talk about, and I'm just like, that didn't happen or whatever. He's just like, you're gaslighting me. No, like it legitimately just didn't happen. And so he started to make me think like, am I a bad person? Like, am I crazy? I was acting fucking crazy. And the day that I actually like left him permanently was January 2021, the very end of the month. That night, I remember I was just trying to go to bed. I had to wake up really early to go to work, and he just like wouldn't leave me alone. He just kept like fucking with me, and he just kept coming in the room. He would turn on the light. He would take the blankets, and he wasn't going to let me sleep because I don't remember. He was mad at me for something. I don't fucking know. It just got to the point where I was up all night, and it got to be like 4 a.m, and I was like, I can't even go back to bed now because I'll never wake up. I remember like my dresser being next to me and just throwing all of these like Bath and Body Works lotions at him. And they were just all over the hallway. Like I just threw everything and he was making me so angry. And I was just like, I fucking had it. Like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, it's fucking crazy. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was because I bought security cameras because he kept saying I was cheating on him. I said, okay, cool. Have these fucking cameras so you can see that no one's coming to our house, because he would tell me that, oh, there's footsteps in the snow, or there's cigarette butts by the window, or you unlock the windows. People are crawling in the windows. No, they're fucking not. Like, they're just not. We hadn't gotten the cameras set up yet. And so they were just like in the house. And there was literally one like in the bedroom. And I was going to bed. And he's just like, oh, it's so weird. The camera's not working. And he thought I was like doing shit to it with my watch, which I wasn't. So I tossed my watch into the living room and I've literally never seen it ever again. I had to buy a new one. He was literally sitting in the garage watching the security camera in the bedroom to make sure that there wasn't a dude sneaking in the fucking window, because I'm just going to, you know, have men come in the house while my boyfriend is 30 feet away. Like, what the fuck? I literally was just like going insane and I was so angry. I'm just like, I threw my watch. I was throwing shit at him and I was just like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. And I'm just like screaming this. And so I just go to the living room because I couldn't go to bed, you know, and he like takes my phone and goes in the garage and locks the door. I'm like, okay. So he has my watch and my phone, I think, because then I lost my watch later. But yeah. And then he's like, I text your boss and told her you quit your job. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Well, he like opened the garage door later and then I couldn't find my phone. He like locked it in his toolbox or something, but I found his phone. I remember like calling my mom from it and just being like, if I get arrested, like, then I need you to bail me out because I'm about to call the cops and I'm fucking pissed. And I think I messaged Heather, which was my boss at the time, from his phone. And I was just like, hey, I don't know what Nick said to you, but this is what's going on. Like, I'm trying to get there. I'm really sorry. Like, I wasn't even late yet. It was still really early in the morning, but he said that he was like texting her to say, quit my job. I had like went out and started my car because it was cold out, you know, and he went out there and took my keys. And so I didn't have my phone. I didn't have my keys. Like, I didn't have anything. I walked outside with his keys and I just threw them in the fucking street. And I was just like, fuck you, dude. Like, I was so pissed. And then he locked me outside. So I have his phone. I'm outside. I have no coat on. He has my keys. He has my phone. So I call the cops from his phone. And I'm just like, look, I have to go to work. My boyfriend took my phone. He took my keys. Like, I found his phone. Of course, he just unlocked the door and said I was being crazy, and then told me that if one of us was going to go to jail for domestic violence, it was going to be me. At this point, I'm just so fucking pissed. I don't remember if I'd found my phone yet or not, but at some point I was so angry with him, I went out into the garage and I just ripped shit off the walls and knocked over all his toolboxes and everything. Made it to this point where I just like couldn't do it anymore. Like, I really couldn't. Honestly, at this point, the cops were so used to coming to our house. It was really depressing, and we were pretty much like on a first name basis at this point. But yeah, they ended up coming and just staying there until I could leave. And, you know, I told the kids, give your dad a hug, blah, blah, blah. And then I took them to my mom's and I went to work and I didn't go home. I just went to my mom's and I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. When I would say things like that to him, he would just pull out these like suicidal cards and just say like, I'm going to kill myself because I'm not good enough. And like, you ruined my life and all of this stuff, and would try to make me feel bad. If you don't know me on a personal level, my brother committed suicide in 2015. He knows that. He knows it's a very sensitive topic to me, and he used that against me. And he would send me videos of him just like eating pills and crazy stuff to try and make me come back. I had to be like, I can't come back. Literally, I had to like get a hold of the cops and have them go to the house with me to be able to get some of my stuff. And it just ended up being crazy. But I know that just like spiraled off from they don't bring out the best in you, but I seriously mean it because he made me literally crazy. So number 17 says you don't have a positive feeling about the future. I used to, and I kept hoping it was going to get better, you know, and then it just got to this point where like I had started nursing school and I didn't have the support to be able to work full time and do that so I couldn't finish, you know. I just stopped feeling hopeful about things. You know, I would go to work and I'd feel really motivated, and then I would get home and then I would just remember like, this is kind of where we're at. Number 18 says they like to play games. So usually this type of thing just means like, kind of like what I said before, like I would try to leave and he would say all these things to get me to come back. Like, he didn't really give a shit when I was there, but as soon as I started to be away, you know, it just completely changed the game. And I had actually left in 2 months prior in November. I was gone for a week, and I left at like 8 o'clock at night and went to his sister's house with the kids, and I stayed there. I didn't tell him where I was at. Like, we hid my car. You know, they were telling him they hadn't heard from me, whatever. I'm really close with his sister and her wife, and I think they're amazing people, and I love them so much. And they were so supportive through everything that I went through. And I literally owe them so much for like always being there for me. But they, you know, did everything they could to make sure that like we were safe. And he was like coming to their house because he just happened to know that I was there, and he was acting crazy, and they called the cops on him and all of this stuff. And everything just felt like a fucking game. Number 19 says that your partner never remembers your schedule. Well, yes and no. So it started out that way when I had a lot going on, and then it just turned into I work Monday through Friday. These are the days that I work, and that's it. So if there was ever an event or something, you know, he would never remember that. He wouldn't remember the things that were important. So that always really sucked. But he knew when I worked, because if I wasn't home at the exact time that I needed to be home, then that was just it. Number 20 says they're always blaming people for their problems. I noticed this so much with my family. So there was a falling out like with my mom and my stepdad and everything. And it just seemed like he wasn't at fault for any of it. And, you know, I used to blame them for it. And I'm just like, why are you putting it on him? Like, why aren't you doing anything to make it better? But honestly, there were just things that he did that he didn't care to fix. So he was, you know, blaming everyone for the problems. And I should have, you know, realized that then, which is just another crazy thing that you just don't realize, you know. But all of the issues he had with anyone in my family or my friends, all of it was their fault, and none of it was his. And it was my fault too, apparently. So they're never going to take responsibility for their problems. And I did notice it a lot too with like the work he was doing. So he was really into construction and things, and he would often work with someone and then not because there was some kind of problem. And I mean, granted, I'm sure some of it like was because of the people he was working with. But I mean, like, he always just was like, it's not my fault. None of it's my fault. Number 21 says that your significant other is super competitive with you. So it's really good to support each other's goals and be happy when you guys reach your goals. But if it gets to the point where like you feel bad for reaching your goals because that person isn't, or your life is good and you can't celebrate that, then that's a problem. And I know that I would just be happy about things going on at work and just feel really good about myself. And I'm just like, I'm really happy like with where I'm at. And he's just like, oh, good for you. Like, I'm not. It shouldn't be like that. And I will say that now, you know, Gary and I are both very like goal driven, motivated people. And like with all of the work that I'm doing from home with like my blog and my podcast and getting into real estate and, you know, my courses and everything, he's so supportive. And I'm just like, you know, I know that I'm hardly making shit for money right now, but like one day it's going to pay off. And he sees that and he knows that. He's always just like really pushing me to like be better in like the healthiest way. And I love that when I get these really like motivated streaks that I go through or whatever, like it always makes him feel more motivated. So we really just like lift each other up, and it's great. Yeah, you should never be competing with your significant other for anything, period. Number 22 says you feel like you do all the work in your relationship. So I literally did. I felt like I did. I was paying for all of the bills. I was paying for his hobbies and things that he liked to do. I was taking care of the kids. I was going to counseling. He always says that, you know, I refuse to do counseling with him, but I didn't. Like, I went to the first session of couples counseling by myself. And then the guy was like, you know, if you guys aren't going to be a couple, I do couples counseling. So I had to switch to just doing counseling alone. I was doing everything I could to improve the situation, and it just like wasn't improving. Number 23 says you're always making excuses for their bad behavior. That's the whole fucking basis of this episode, is that I've constantly made excuses for every single flag that he was showing. Every single bad thing he was doing, I was making an excuse for it. And it was really pathetic. Number 24, and the very last one, the relationship is borderline abusive. So the article says it's a slippery slope between a toxic relationship and an outright abusive one. If the person you're dating is going out of their way to hurt your self-esteem or going out of their way to put you down and make you feel trapped in the relationship, that could indicate you're in an abusive relationship. If you hear comments that trap you into the relationship by making you believe you wouldn't be happy or not being in it, like, who else would you date besides me? Or I'm the best you'll ever get, you're likely dealing with a toxic person. Seeking professional help via a therapist could help you regain your confidence so you can break free of that destructive thought pattern. The longer you stay in a toxic relationship, the harder it can be to remove yourself from it and to start a new healthy relationship with a partner who deserves you. Don't wait to make the moves. This right here is just like a huge summary of all of it. If you are dealing with those flags above, that is psychological abuse. It is mental abuse, okay? And when I hear people say, you know, my husband's not an asshole, like he's just joking, or that's just like how we mess around. It's not a joke for your husband to like make fun of you or to like downgrade you. Like I talked to a guy briefly that would just kind of like joke around, but like make fun of me. But like, it wasn't funny. Like it didn't make me feel good. And I'm just like, why is that humorous to you? I don't find enjoyment from being made fun of by the person that I love. Like, that's just not, I mean, it's okay to be like, oh yeah, you know, sometimes you're just like really loopy, very forgetful, or like kind of clumsy. Like that's one thing, but I don't know. This guy would like make a joke, like pretty much saying that I was stupid, but just like laugh it off. And I'm like, just because you laugh doesn't make it funny. Like that's really fucked up. So got out of that. And you just really need to like understand what mental abuse is, and that it is a very, very, very common form of domestic violence. I would like to do another episode about mental abuse and things. If any of these resonated with you, or you felt like that's me, that's a situation that I'm in, then you really need to like evaluate. My email address is listed below if you want to talk. I'm always open for talking. You can also go to my website, ideserveitpodcast.com, and submit any questions, concerns, stories. It can be done anonymously. You can put your name. I can reach out to you. If you need someone to talk to or you need resources, please let me know. I want to be able to help if I can. Please share this episode with someone that you feel needs to hear it. We actually see people suffering in toxic relationships around us all the time. And I think we're scared to make moves. You don't necessarily need to pressure them in any way. You want to be there for them, but it wouldn't hurt to just throw a little of advice their way, you know? So, if you feel like someone could really benefit listening to this, then please share it with them. And I will have everything in the description below, the link to the article, my website, and everything. So just be careful. If you are out there dating and you're getting into relationships, please just remember these things. Don't brush it off. If you see any of these, then you'd need to just run immediately. Don't waste your time. Okay. You guys are amazing. Thank you for listening. If I didn't have an audience, like I couldn't even have a podcast. So I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get more listeners. So, you know, spread the word. Word of mouth is the best. And I've actually been working on creating a Facebook group for the podcast. So places to anonymously post and things like that. I'll link it in the description, and then you guys can also check out the blog post for this episode. It will have a lot of information as well. So thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and have a good day.